You can only be you, baby.
Welcome to another episode of the You Can Only Be You podcast, investing in mindset, health, and wealth. I am the host, Ucoby, alongside with my wife,
hello,
Keisha. And today we have a special guest, Kyle Schutts, the owner of Networbarbell, USA weightlifting coach. How you doing, Kyle?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being a part. Thanks for being a part of it. We appreciate it. Kyle, now he has a vast history of Olympic weightlifting as well as strength training. I'm going to let him tell you his story and his background. Could you share a little bit? How did you get involved in training and what got you on this journey?
Yeah, well, I'd say I got involved in training. I got cut from the basketball team in 9th grade. So I was about 5'2" or so in like 7th and 8th grade. Shot up to about 6'4" one summer. No coordination, no handles, no jump shot. All my friends made the team. It was a Monday they made the team. On Tuesday morning, I'm telling my dad, I'm sick. I can't go to school.
Because you knew you didn't make the team?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want them to see me. He goes, here's what you're gonna do, Kyle. You're gonna go to the weight room. He's like, find the strong guys, find a coach, find somebody. But I'm not picking you up until 4:30. He goes, I'm not picking you up. Your sister's not picking you up. Nobody's picking you up. You're gonna be at school. Go to the weight room, figure it out.
Right.
And I listened to him, went there, and I kind of just fell in love with it after that.
That's awesome. Wow.
And so I'm thankful for him every day that he just threatened to just leave me at school.
That's awesome. It almost like the opposite of Michael Jordan. You got cut, but you had your growth spurt and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just it all deteriorated from there.
Did you ever play on the team?
No.
Okay.
No.
So never played basketball.
I trained a lot so that I could maybe make the team again, and then I thought, I don't want to do this.
No.
I just want to
But
go
you
play.
fell in love with training.
Yeah, I fell in love with training.
Now, did you start off powerlifting, or you dabbled with Olympic lifting to jump off the bat?
So I think like any high school boy, I started off bench pressing every day, max, and doing a lot of curls, a lot of unproductive training, and then actually what I found was there was a garage gym down the street from where I went to high school. A guy by the name of Tim Martsoff ran it, and a bunch of the athletes were going over there. They said, Kyle, you got to come over to Tim's. And so I went there, and I thought, okay, I know about lifting. I got big biceps. I can bench a lot. And then I'm looking at, and he had the whole thing was crazy how it was run. So it was his kids got there after school. He would come from his job, and you pay $5.
Wow.
You give the kid $5. You got 5 workouts for the week. And then he'd show up. He'd open the garage doors up, and then we'd all train there. And he had little index cards. And I'm looking at these things. There's percentages and there's drop sets.
Right.
And all of these things. I'm sitting there looking at this, trying to like understand and decipher what is on this card. And once he started telling me about this stuff and how you can periodize a program and how you can set something up now so that you're stronger later, which is blowing my like 16-year-old mind.
Right.
And from that point on, I was just hooked, and I wanted to learn everything I could about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, when you say periodization, do you believe in that as a coach, or do you believe more so the best for the aesthetic of what they're trying to accomplish?
You know, and I feel like I've evolved on this, and I've continued to evolve on this where, I mean, yes, the science is good on periodization, and you can definitely use that to your advantage, but in terms of like, if there's one set style, what I've found is that I've moved on from trying to figure out like what's the best programming method to just what's the best programming method for one individual.
Right. It depends on the person.
It depends on the person. It depends on the experience level. It depends on what they want to do, and it depends on what do you have available to you.
And I think that's true across every domain in fitness.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding, Olympic lifting. Even a regular gym soccer mom, her fitness regimen, I think that should be the basis against all forms of fitness.
And honestly, what did it for me was, I think it was the first time I was in a CrossFit gym, and after having had experience in Olympic weightlifting, where we were just so heavily on the program of arguing about, is it 60%, is it 63%,
Right.
are you going too heavy, are you going too light? To where I walk into this CrossFit gym and I'm seeing all these just super fit people, and I'm talking to these coaches about like, what kind of periodization you run? Like,
No.
we look it up on the website, and whatever is the workout, that's what we do. And I'm sitting here trying to wrap my mind around like, how in the world does this all work if it's just random? And I don't think random is the right word, but like that constantly varied portion of it kind of opened my eyes to you know,
There's
it
different
works,
methods,
but
yeah,
but
and it
everything
works.
works a little bit differently,
Yeah.
and so I think I've stopped really seeking what is the best periodization method. What is linear better than conjugate? And just learning about each method, and then when somebody comes to me and I find that person that is going to have that method is going to benefit them the best, that's what I end up applying to them in terms of program design.
You have an athletic Olympic lifting background. How does that translate in how you approach coaching Olympic athletes? Because you were once there, and you know the mindset, and you know the frustrations and the peaks and valleys they go through. How do you try to translate that to the athlete to get them to compete at their best? Because your whole thing is performance.
Yes.
Optimizing that.
Yeah, and I think for me, I always want to look at, and the question I ask anybody who comes to the Olympic list is, do you ever play golf?
Okay.
And you golf. Okay.
I do.
Really hard to know the swing, right? And
Yes.
when I say I golf, I drink beer and swing a club. Like that's the extent of where I am on a golf course.
Keisha golf.
Well, the wind
Yeah.
and the angle that you're hitting and where you're looking.
And it's a super frustrating thing. Like the driver is different than the fairway versus the putter. The same thing with the Olympic lifts. 60% is different than 70, different than 80, different than 90. From the hang, from the floor, from a power. So you have to be good with everything to really excel in the sport.
Okay.
And so just like golf, if you're all I can drive. I can hit the ball straight and up in the air.
Well, that's good though.
That's not so good when you get close to the green though. Like straight and up in the air, it's not what you want.
You have a long game.
I end up just going back and forth and taking a snowman on the
Right.
and moving on. But I always like to look at where they're at in terms of the stages of learning.
Yeah.
This is kind of a big thing that I apply to my coaching method is, so within the stage of learning, I like to see like what questions do they need answered.
Okay.
And so moving through, like there are kind of 3 distinct stages that we see. It's first stage is they need to know, well, what do I need to do? So that is just the basics of, you need to grip the bar here. You need to position your feet here.
Right. Okay.
You need to use the floor. You need to push through the ground. You need to sit down.
Yeah.
Those are the things that they need answered.
Okay.
And so until I see that they're doing those things with a little bit of consistency, then do I kind of move on to answering the question of how.
Okay.
Which is inherently a much more complicated question.
Right.
And I think a lot of times that's where coaches start. They start telling you how to do the lifts. Well, you're gonna flex your knees to a certain degree, and you're gonna extend your hips all the way through, and you're gonna push, and you're gonna drop under the bar. You're gonna punch really hard. You're gonna stabilize with your midsection.
That's a lot being thrown, and sometimes depending on their stage, they may not be ready to receive that yet.
Exactly.
So you're kind of saying the how is based off of the individual. There's really, you have to, it's different for everybody.
Yeah, so like when you introduce that concept to them, and then like that third and final stage is when it's just automatic to them. The question they're asking is like, all right, well, what else? What else can I do with this? Can I do this on short rest? Can I do this every minute on the minute and continue to stay on pacing? Can I do this? Can I do this to max loads? Can I drop down? Essentially, like, can I move the bar in the same manner from empty bar all the way to 100%?
Right.
And that's kind of what I look for in a lifter, and then just kind of introducing, or I guess kind of meeting them where they're at in that stage, and just not trying to unload too much on them at one point, and then understanding that it very much like, oh, it's a frustrating thing. There are going to be peaks and valleys. There are going to be days where the snatch feels great and the clean and jerk is just terrible, and it's just not there. And it's kind of a continuing to understand where they're at in that stage of, if what they need to get out of there is me answering the question of what or how, I need to make sure that I answer those questions.
Right. And you dealt with this on a professional level. Could you give us a little bit of rundown on your professional background with dealing with professional athletes?
Yeah, so as a strength coach, so I went to Indiana University for my undergrad. I got a degree in exercise science, and then was fortunate enough to get a job out at Long Beach State University as a strength and conditioning coach there, and I got my master's degree in exercise science there as well. That's really where I started studying motor learning. Is kind of the field that I operate in, and just kind of understanding how people learn.
That's probably exciting.
Yeah.
I would think motor learning is exciting to learn.
Thank you.
I have a quick question though, just with you knowing that, and I know that you're a dad. How, when you watch your children and you know about motor learning, how do you apply things like this? What do you find interesting? Out of curiosity, because it seems to be with having that skill and that knowledge, and then having little ones, and then watching them.
Yeah, it's
like, what are they teaching you about it?
And they're this difference. It's like they're at like that motor development stage where they're like, I mean, my son, he's 2.5. He's a new person every couple of weeks.
I'm sure you discover new things.
And I know this is getting off track from what your question was, but at night, my son and I, before bed, we do bedtime stretches.
Okay,
that's nice.
And he just likes he's learned how to count, and he counts to 10, and some of the others are daddy. And he can do I don't know if you've seen like the pretzel stretch before. It's like, it's like laying on your side.
Never even heard of it.
It is a complicated stretch. Look at the pretzel stretch. It's
gotta check that out.
FMS thing.
We're gonna have to get you to demonstrate.
But it was something that he thought was a funny name.
Okay.
And so I started showing him how to do it. I'm giving him the different stages of, we're like lay on our side and we'll put our knee down and we'll open up like a windmill. And so now he can do this. After a couple of weeks, he can do this. He can take these things in, he says, and he just repeats what I was saying and repeats what I was doing. And I'm just kind of amazed as to what they're taking in. They're kind of like just a sponge there on that.
So it's kind of, I just was curious because, with that background of having children, I'm like, wow, that'd be kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, and
how the motor learning.
I think for me, my kids are young, so I don't have a lot of context for it. I think I might be able to look and apply all these things, but for the most part, I look at it's kind of a mystery as to how they are developing like that.
That's cool.
But to get back to your question, I'm gonna jump around.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But from Long Beach State, I ended up going in Long Beach State. The Dirtbags, the greatest college team name ever, by the way.
The Dirtbags.
The Long Beach State Dirtbags.
Nice.
That's funny. Funny. What was the mascot? I want to know that. What was it?
So the actual school, everything but the baseball program, they're the 49ers. The baseball program is Long Beach State Dirtbags.
Okay.
And that has like a story to like the 1989 team practiced on like an all dirt infield, and then they go from that to class just like covered in dirt.
Okay.
And they ended up beating like UCLA, USC, all these teams
wow.
that had like
prestigious teams.
And they said like the kids at UCLA aren't going to class covered in dirt.
Right.
Right.
That's pretty cool. That's cool.
So that kind of that like mentality stuck there. But Long Beach State baseball, dirtbag baseball it's a big brand in college baseball. It's a big program. And so from there, I was able to kind of make some connections within baseball. Once I graduated and completed my master's degree, I took a job with on the Minnesota Twins strength and conditioning staff.
I'm a Sox fan, sorry.
I was a Sox fan too growing up. That was the thing. I was a Sox fan too growing up, and then in AL Central, I still ride for my Twins right now though. I got a lot of guys who are up on the team now, which is nice to see.
Okay. We'll call a truce on that.
Yeah. But kind of getting to your question though about like, how do I apply this stuff like at like the professional level? I think you're kind of
versus the intermediate everyday.
The everyday working out.
Yeah, and and baseball is like this interesting kind of a social experiment in the weight room. I think because you get kids that they went to these elite institutions and they have been in a weight room their entire lives. From high school all the way up through maybe they're working out at a private facility. They have private coaches. And then you get kids from Venezuela, Dominican Republic, who maybe had never been in the weight room. And then you get the kid in the middle who had a coach that said, I'm trying to think of what this kid said to me once. He was a 20-year-old that got drafted, and his coach's motto was, you can't pull a muscle if you don't have any muscles.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So you kind of run everything. You kind of run through everything in terms of like the spectrum of athletes and experience levels and backgrounds. So it was a really interesting environment, and then on top of that, the kids come from Latin American countries, so there's a language barrier there as well. And it really was a big test for me in terms of my coaching philosophy and my coaching style of making sure that I'm giving them the right instructions and I'm actually looking at these kids objectively. And I think that's where I look at the difference between skill and the difference between skill and ability. So ability is going to be this kid is an all-star shortstop. He can hit, he can run, he can field, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be great in the weight room if he hasn't done any of these things.
Right.
So
his motor skill and his actual strength and skill. I get what you're saying.
And so that was eye-opening to me of like a lot of our really like high-level prospects didn't have a lot of experience in the weight room. They were a little bit scared of it, and then those guys don't like to fail either. They don't like to feel like they're not good at something.
That's a mindset that you got to overcome too. Because their perception is like, well, I'm up here.
And it's it's hard for them to look at like, well, this kid's not even a prospect, and he's doing this harder variation. You're telling me I've got to go do a goblet squat? Like what is this? Like
right.
And so being able to communicate to them and meeting them at their level where they are in terms of their motor skill development, but also being sensitive to what their background was, how they came up, really impacts like how they buy into you as a coach.
Right.
And that was such a great experience for me. It is a lot of work to be at that level. It is kind of constant. I mean, you're pretty much working from end of February until first week of October every day. Long days, a lot of travel, but it was really worth it for me because it's.
And that's if you don't make the playoffs. Well, the playoffs usually end around end of October. Well, end of September.
Yeah, when I was with the Twins, we were making playoffs at that time.
When you were working out, and you were talking about when you were 16 and you wanted to make the team, and you started to work out with weights, and you were in the weight room. What was the determining factor when you decided to take the application of strengthening and conditioning from yourself to wanting to help other people and to utilize that for people that you don't know? Like, what was that? What made you want to do that for other people and not focus on yourself anymore as much?
Gosh, so I went into my freshman year, and I kind of always just thought like going into that exercise was a hobby that I just was really into, and I never really even gave much thought into like it being a profession of mine. It was just something that I was just so interested in that I would just, as a teenager, want to read and learn, and that wasn't something like I was an okay student. I got
average.
By.
You were average.
I got by.
Right,
you did enough to not fail.
I got by on things that and if I applied myself, I'd do really good. But if I wasn't interested in it, I just wasn't interested in it. And it wasn't until my freshman year of college at IU, the business school there is really great. And so
is that what you went to school for initially?
I'm going to be
communications.
Okay, that was your first thing.
Business management was my original major, and my minor was exercise science. I just thought I'm going to be able to learn more about it, and I'll open a gym one day because I've got a business background. I'll learn stuff about exercise science.
Okay.
And so my first semester, I sat down with an advisor, and she says, "Okay, what do you think of your classes? How'd this go?" I was like, "Well, I didn't like my classes." And she goes, "You had at least like some of your classes." And I was like, "No, I didn't like any of these classes. I liked anatomy." And she goes, "You got an A in anatomy?" I was like, yeah.
I liked it.
And I really liked it. She goes, "Nobody likes anatomy. Business management major likes anatomy."
Right.
And so she goes, "We need to switch this. You need to go and you need to pursue the exercise science because one, I don't think I was going to get into the business school if I kept slacking off in all the business classes because I didn't like it.
Okay.
And two, I after that I remember leaving like the feeling of like walking out of that office like, did I just find what I wanted to do?
That's awesome. So
passion.
that was your hidden passion. You found it.
And from there it was just anything that I could learn about it and how I could impact and like what my options were just was really just exciting for me.
Okay. When did the shift go to Olympic weightlifting? Is that what you like to do, or did you get drew into that somehow?
About a mentor.
Where did the Olympic weightlifting come in?
It was kind of always something that like like I played high school football, something we do, and it was something we do at Tim's garage.
Not properly.
But not properly.
You're not doing power cleans properly. We used to do them like jumping jacks. Like it was
And
people
it was
weird.
I did some like observation and like internship hours in the IU weight room with the football team, and that was when I really first got exposed to like whoa, like these dudes are doing like 315 power cleans. Like at the time, to me, that's got to be a world record. Like,
still, that's impressive.
And so from that point, like, and we had a
I'm
house.
sorry, you said like this is gotta be like a world record.
Well, it's impressive still now, though.
And if you've never seen it before,
it's highly impressive.
And remember, this is 2007 or so. Like, CrossFit hadn't gotten onto the scene yet. People didn't, know about these things. And so, from there, we had a house right off campus, right off the stadium, and we built like this little, like me and my roommates built this little garage gym there. And it used to be like, it was like a bar where we used to party in, but then we kind of grew up and we got more mature and we turned into a weight room. And it was still like sticky with beer and maybe there's some broken glass every couple of feet or so, but we cleaned it up enough. But in that setting, I was like, I'm gonna learn how to do cleans and snatches. I'm gonna teach myself how to do this. And I quickly realized like this is way harder. There's much more to this.
Right.
Okay.
And so I read everything that I could, pursued coaching, got mentorships and everything like that. Anybody who could teach me a little bit about this, I went for it. And and then out at Long Beach State, that was really what drew me out there as well, is that they have their exercise science department has a great history of doing a lot of really good research on the Olympic lifts. Dr. John Garhammer, who's actually an Olympic weightlifting legend as a coach, was still out there on like kind of early retirement. I got to learn some stuff from him. Eric Burkhardt is another great Olympic lifting coach out there. There's a lot of really, really good weightlifting out there, and that was really where I completely just like head over heels in love with the weightlifting movements. That was the time frame where I really like got completely into it, and just pursuing like I think that those are the two things that kind of coincided. Was like, this is really hard to learn. This is even harder to teach. Now I need to learn more about motor learning. I need to understand how do people learn and store movements, and then what can I do as a coach to facilitate that process. And so that's why I really pursued that in my master's degree program. And I actually did my master's degree thesis on instructional models that could improve the mechanics of the snatch.
Okay. What do you feel makes you a successful coach? And with that being said, what would you tell someone why they should use you as a coach?
So I think the thing that makes me successful as a coach is that I can distill these things down, these complex movements, and I can make it something you can understand. And I think anytime we give instructions, anytime I coach someone, the goal is to get them to take action and then for there to be a successful outcome.
I mean, you definitely successfully verbally gave me instructions and cues for me to do a power clean.
Yeah.
And a snatch.
And a snatch. So use the floor.
It was definitely.
Use the floor.
So you definitely are correct on that. You are very good at that.
I have a question. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I think that's the main thing that kind of separates me from maybe some other coaches, is that I think I'm always gonna make sure that you learn the movements really well. Is that I'm not one of these, and we talked about it before, is like I'm not bound to a certain training methodology, but I'm bound to a certain coaching principles.
Is that why you think an athlete should train with you?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that's why athletes should train with me, is that I focus more on the coaching than I do the just handing you the perfectly laid out and balanced spreadsheet and saying, here you go, and I'm going to clap. I'm gonna be a cheerleader for you. I'm
not necessarily customized. He's saying he's coaching you, he's developing you, because a lot of, at least I see this in CrossFit, you don't see a lot of development and people get burnt out because they don't really know no direction. And you're saying, before I can give you direction, I want to actually develop you. First and foremost, to be a good athlete, you got to be a good person. So it's going to take you through peaks and valleys as a character reflection. So I want to develop you more so in that aspect before I just hand you a program.
Yeah,
but he has to customize his tactics, his verbiage to every person. He has to customize. He's not going to give everyone the same training.
Yeah.
For me to do a snatch and for you to do the snatch, we may get two totally different methods to give us the same results. Yeah. Would that be safe to say?
Yeah, but his principle is still the same.
Yeah, principle is still the same. Just method may be different.
And coaching the movement. Now, I have a question as far as, because the podcast is investing in mindset of health, how have you, now that you're an owner of your own barbell club, and that's a big investment,
telling me,
how would you stress the importance of investing both in the mindset of an ownership and also separating it as to an athlete? How do you convey that to athletes and apply to yourself as being an owner?
Work-life balance.
There you
Basically, so how do you take the ownership and balance it out with work, life, and balance?
Yeah, so I think that was one of the main reasons why I kind of pursued owning my own business was that what I found in kind of my last job was that there were so many outside factors and things that kind of swirled around that would take me from either the work that I enjoyed, so the coaching the athletes, or just time with my family, or just spare time to even just like focus in on my own training, or just any of those things that is like that work-life balance. And I think it's really hard to have true work-life balance. I think at a certain point you just have to have like work-life integration almost. Like those things have to kind of coincide. Like I was telling you about I own my own business, so I'm able to take my son here, and he helps me clean up. And it's like my favorite part of of Saturdays is him with his little toy vacuum sweeping up in here. And just, I think what I did when I sat down and I planned this place out was I thought about like, what do I want my day to look like? Like opening a business to me was I get to create my own day.
And that's a mindset thing, though.
Yeah,
because you're planning and you're visualizing it too.
And then around that, I was able to build my business model. I was able to build my pricing structure. I was able to build what my layout looked like, how much space I needed, and it was all kind of. And then what areas I was looking at was, okay, what do I want my day to look like? Because what I didn't want to do was just, all right, I'm going to leave this job and I'm going to take out loans and investments that I have to pay back one day, and then just create the same exact job, but now I'm on the hook for all the money. Like,
right.
It's kind of what, and I think that's what a lot of gym owners end up doing, or like maybe they were an athlete and they were working a second job, and then they want to open up a gym, and they just kind of reflect what their gym they were training at was doing.
Right.
I think the biggest piece of advice I could give to like that work-life balance is just, if you are taking that plunge, which is a big step of owning your own business, just look at it, like start it from scratch of what do I want my day to look like, start to finish.
Kind of work backwards, because you all right, this is the end goal. How do we get here? Let's track how this happened. We got to start here.
Yeah.
And what do we want this to look like? Because obviously you don't want to have, in your head you may say, I eventually want to move up to 40 athletes, but to start off you don't want to have 40 athletes.
Yeah, exactly.
It gotta be manageable and have, you say, the work-life balance. And I think that's what I'm trying to stress, the importance of having that mindset and knowing to invest in yourself. Because a lot of people, they go through we were talking about the rat race. A lot of people go through the rat race. A lot of people just go through the motions and they don't really see no direction. And I think it comes down to that mindset and just knowing, this is my life, let's invest into it.
When did you decide to invest in yourself? When did you make that decision, say, I'm going to invest in myself first? I don't want to put my time elsewhere.
Was it the first child or the second child?
So related to that, so I made the decision, I want to say like last February is really when I just had I don't even want to call it like a breaking moment or like a breakthrough moment, but it was just like, I kind of had the realization at my last job that I wasn't ever going to be able to make it what I wanted to make it.
Okay.
I wasn't going to be able to do my best, and this is not an indictment on that organization, just I wasn't going to be able to do my best, and then from there, they're not going to be able to get out from me what they need. The people that I'm working with weren't going to be able to get what they need from me, and that if that's the case, it's
never going to work.
Yeah, there's no zero-sum game right there. There's zero-sum gain right there. And so once I realized that, I started just doing the research of okay, what do I want to do? What do I need to get? Like how do I make a business plan? And just consulting with different friends about all that. But then after I had a timeline set out of okay, I'm gonna work through all of this, and then I'm gonna put in my 2 weeks on this date, and then the opening date will be on this day. This was the same week that I did all that.
So with that being said, obviously you can't picture yourself doing anything else.
Nope, I'm here.
This is it for life.
It is network till the end.
That's awesome.
That is what I'm committing to right now.
I'm happy for you.
And me too. Proud of you. Happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you
proud.
guys kind of being a part of this. Even early on, it was just nice getting some good just encouragement from you guys while I was building this over here. And I've got big plans for it in the future. I have things that I want to grow from here, but we haven't even been in business 6 months yet. I feel like I'm already looking at where I want to be 3 years from now, and I just keep having to kind of ground myself and kind of put myself back in the moment of, all right, no, it's not about where I'm going to be 3 years from now. It's about like coaching this group tonight and getting them
focused now
1% better tonight.
Right.
And if we continue to do that, we're just going to keep growing.
Obviously, the Olympics is an end game.
Having an Olympic
the
team.
USA sign.
Right.
So having an Olympic team would be something that I would assume could foresee that in your future?
I would love to be able to develop an athlete and to be able to help take them to the games and continue to develop within the USA weightlifting system. That would be huge for me, is to be able to just be a part of that. And I love being a part of just this sport that is growing so much. And then additionally, I've had so much fun, and I keep saying, like, we're not just one method, but we have our weightlifting team. That's what I talk about a lot, because that's within my wheelhouse. But we have a budding powerlifting program going on right now.
Shout out to Alex.
Shout out to Alex, yes, doing a great job. And that's going to be the first time I think I tell him that in a couple of weeks. Don't get used to it. But I've had so much fun just learning about the sport of powerlifting, because it's so very similar but incredibly different than the sport of weightlifting. And then learning more about CrossFit, helping you out a little bit, and then with my athletes as well, and just sort of finding a place for everybody. And that's what I want to continue to grow, is just all those different sections of it, so that we can, when people come and ask us what network is, that's why we're Networbarbell Club rather than just network weightlifting, is that we're a lot more than that.
Broad spectrum.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I definitely believe in you, and I think that you will achieve your goals. I mean, I can say that I think you're in the right job.
You're definitely in the right job.
This is what you are supposed to be doing. I don't mean
either this or
you don't meet a lot of
broadcasting or hosting.
Well, you don't meet a lot of people
maybe one day. Yeah.
You don't meet a lot of people who you see and like you are around them, and what they're doing is obviously what they're supposed to be doing.
I appreciate
you
that.
see some people and you're thinking to yourself, like, man, you're just in it for the money, or you're just here because it's an easy ride. But
right.
You can, obviously for you, Kyle,
it's either in you or on you.
Yeah, it's in you. So.
We have a segment called Bars that we like to end with.
It's because we're at the Barbell Club.
We're at the Barbell Club.
Geez.
And that requires, I guess, to freestyle, but are you going to freestyle for us? Just 4 bars?
As many bars as you have.
Just 4 bars?
And we talked about this before.
Yeah, you got a few, Kyle. You don't have to rhyme.
You don't have to rhyme. You can just say Networbarbell.
We talked about this before, and I have kids. The internet.
So you make it good, though. Make it good,
The
Ding.
internet is forever.
Make it good.
I told you my wife stuck by me through a lot. If I'm rapping on the internet, I don't think so.
You can poetically do it. You can say a poem.
We're gonna let you off the hook. We're gonna let you off the hook.
This is Networbarbell. It's really swell. Kyle is the guy. Come check him out.
Well, thank you, Kyle. We appreciate you. You guys can follow at Networbarbell on all social media platforms. You have an Instagram and a Twitter.
Yep. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
And YouTube. All at Networbarbell. And once again, I am the host, Ucoby, alongside my beautiful wife, Keisha.
You can only be you, baby.
You can only be you, baby. Till next time. Blessings.
You can only be you, babe.